Welcome back to the B stream at the Major, guys. I'm Dev, and Mandy, you lost your box.
Yeah, I know. I've become shorter. The magic is gone.
Do I have to do this now? Is that how we're going to play it?
Yeah,
I'm just going to crouch down?
You've got to do one of those.
Oh, okay. I'm going to really get fit. But guess what? We have a banging game coming up for you guys. It's W7M, everyone's favorites out of Brazil, especially this one's favorites, versing one of our APAC South homeboys. It is Fury. A lot of favorites on that roster as well, a lot of love. But this is going to be an interesting game, to say the least. There is no beating around the bush. This should be a one-sided affair.
Absolutely. W7M, they are the best in Brazil at the moment. They are on a crazy win streak. I think it's like 11 maps or something like that win streak for them going at the moment. For Fury, on the other hand, they did really well in APAC South, but they're not doing as well here. I don't think they're going to do as well here in the Major because they're a pretty scary group.
They certainly do. And for Fury, putting it into context, this is a team that in Stage 1, within APAC South, they did not get a single point. They never pushed any teams to overtime. They lost every single game in regulation. And since then, it has been a rough year. Finally, they did, despite everyone's expectations, get ahead of teams like Gaming Gladiators and teams like Elevate for a spot here at the Jönköping Major, which is huge for us and huge for them. But I will say, there's not a lot of expectation from there. They are still the underdogs of being underdogs. They're from the most underdog region in APAC, and they are the most underdog team. So no one really has a lot of expectation. I think if people had a ranking of all 16 teams at the tournament, most people would probably put Fury in that last spot.
Probably. I would have to agree with that. I think Fury, they got in because of their improvement over the last 3 stages. They did start off as the 0 of APAC South. Quite literally, in Stage 1, they didn't get a single point, like not even OT, not a single point, I believe it was. And now at Stage 3, they're here at the Major. So that's already crazy progress in just what, the last like 10 months. That is crazy good for them. But is that good enough for W7M? Maybe not.
That's the thing. We're not saying this because we're trying to rag on Fury. We're saying this to put it into context of this is a bloody hard group. This is Space Station, BDS, and W7M.
Yeah.
We'll dive more into W7M for a sec, but just one last point for Fury. Their focus here is just getting what experience they can and dealing some damage. Because between SSG, BDS, and W7M, one of those teams, potentially 2 of them maybe, aren't going to make it to playoffs, and Fury could deal some damage if they can knock some points away from these opponents. But let's talk about W7M. We can't throw this any other way. I think 2022 has been the year of the Bulls.
It has been the year for W7M. They've qualified for every single major, if not wrong. They've already set their sights on SI23. Yeah. They've got, it's not 11 maps, it's 11 series.
Right.
In a row, I believe. They're on an 11 series win streak since picking up Julio, which a lot of people criticize them for, and they've proved their entire region wrong. They have had an amazing Stage 3, and in my opinion, I think they could be one of the ones to lift the trophy here in Jönköping.
Well, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, W7M are currently the #1 ranked team in the world right now.
Yep.
They have been nuts. They have been dominating locally within Brazil and with Latin America. But the man on your screens, Julio, is the one that you mentioned. Huge pickup, right? He was formerly of Fury as coach, and before that, he was very experienced back in the Ninjas in Pajamas days. In fact, of all of the players at this event, he is the player with the 3rd most career maps played at this event. And he just spent the last stage as a coach. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. But let's get into it. It looks like we may well be going to Oregon.
Ooh, this could be exciting. Fury, if I'm not wrong. So Thai teams, they like Oregon. Yep. But they play it a lot in their league between all the teams. It's very much a comfort map for them. I could be completely wrong about Fury, and that is possible. But certainly when I think of Thai teams, I think of Oregon. I think this is the map that's very defining of their region. For W7M, I don't feel like Oregon is as defining in LATAM. But certainly for Fury, if they have one chance to take it to W7M, this is probably the map that I'd expect them to at least give it a go on.
Yeah, I mean, just having a look at the history right now, and for Fury, they do have a lot of plays on this map because they play it a lot in their national league. And yeah, like you were saying, this is a very Thai map. Fury have more wins than losses. They're a 6-4 record, so 60% win rate. As for W7M, strangely, Oregon is their lowest win rate map in the map pool. In the last 6 months, I mean, technically like 5 months, they have played 8 out of the 9 maps in the map pool, Theme Park being the only exception. And Oregon, they have won twice out of the 6 times they've played it. So only a 33% win rate, which is the worst of any of the maps they've played.
Interesting. Not bad research from the side of Fury, if you ask me, then. Seems like they've done pretty good here.
Yeah, and even if you look recently, you were mentioning that W7M are on a huge winning streak in terms of the series, even though they have dropped a couple maps. And guess what? The last 2 big series that they played and won, the map they dropped was Oregon. So that was when they played Team Liquid in the Copa Elite 6 Grand Final and the upper bracket. They also played Liquid. And Black Dragons as well. Earlier in the Copa Elite 6 bracket, they lost to that team 7-4 on Oregon.
Very interesting. So Fury has certainly done their research going into the series. They've picked a map that they're pretty happy on, that they play often against players in their own region. And for W7M, well, even though they are the favourites going into this, maybe we could give Fury a couple rounds here.
Yeah, honestly, I am pretty excited for Fury. Obviously, there's no doubt that W7M are ready for this map. Even if it is historically one of their worst maps, they're probably confident that they can take it regardless. For Fury, this is a map they play fairly frequently. They've played it a lot against quite low-level teams within their national circuit, so I wouldn't put too much stake on those. But they have beaten some fairly strong teams, such as the Knights in APAC South. The last time they played that was in September, and that was a 7-4. That's a pretty good victory for Fury. Now, let's dive a little bit more into Fury and where they sit at the moment, man. And we've talked about how this has been a bit of a rough year for them, ending in a bit of an upwards tick. And a lot of people point to the reason for the upwards tick is the 2 players that you can see on your screens right now. It's I9 and BG Man. Right as I say that, we go and look at W7M. But I9 and BG Man. I9 you might formerly know if you watch the 6 Invitational as Napew. He played for Elevate, he was dropped, he moved over to the other Thai team in APAC South in Fury, and he's been tearing it up. And Fury has had a second wind, a new life, and that has brought them all the way to a major.
And that's exactly right. They also have brought BG Man into their core roster, who's also a former Elevate player, I believe Elevate sub, if I'm not wrong here. And so Fury have suddenly got this injection of players that have played at a higher level or played with a team that is competing internationally, and they're bringing along some of that experience, some knowledge, and they're teaching all the other players, the new guard essentially, what it takes to get to these international events and to be on a roster like that. And like you said, I9 is such an impactful player because his early round is incredible. That the entries, especially making them explosive on like the Ashe, the Iana, that type of thing, is what I9 brought to the team that Fury didn't have beforehand. Before that, they were a very, very slow team, especially in APAC standards, and now they're matching the pace of, in my opinion, pretty much the rest of the international world.
Yeah, for sure. And if you do look at statistically the highlight players for Fury, it's, funnily enough, in Stage 3, BG Man has been the highest rated player with a 1.12, which isn't exceptional, but it's a very respectable and very good rating. I9 and Lycolis are behind on 1.05 and 1.09 respectively. So those are the players to look out for. But for me, another interesting one, if we're talking about Stage 3 performances, is if you flick on over to W7M, I know coming into the start of Stage 3, everyone was talking about the Finka nerf, because Finka was instrumental in defining to that Stage 2 and Stage 1 of 2022, and when her LMG got nerfed hugely, when she lost those nades, we stopped seeing her. Now, KZ was an insane, unstoppable force. He had a 1.41 rating in Stage 2, maining that Finka, and that rating has dropped down to 1.13, which is, by the way, still very good.
Imagine that. Oh no, only 1.13.
When he goes from being like a literal Terminator to getting that Finka nerve, and I'm not insinuating, I'm just saying that this is what people were saying. People were, saying, oh, what's going to happen to the Finka one tricks? It doesn't matter, though, because everyone else has elevated their performances on the back of it, and W7M are scarier than ever.
Absolutely. And I think another thing is with this team, they are pretty crazy. Like, it's not just KZ that can go off. You've got Volps, who's actually the IGL of this roster, as I learnt very recently. Pretty much like the second entry flex type player. He can go off when he needs to, absolutely. Same thing with JV. JV is that player on the roster that will pick up whatever they need in the moment. It might be a bit of an odd operator pick, but he goes off with it anyway. And off the back of that, they're supported by Julio and Herds. And so it's just such a great roster for enabling. Even when KZ doesn't step up, there are so many other players that just fulfill that role in the frags.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Julio back. I remember back in the good old days of Ninjas in Pajamas, and before that, they were called Black Dragons. Julio was the blitz main. He was the creative just beautiful mind that brought such an entertaining aspect to the game. And yeah, he sat out and spent some time coaching Furia, but now he's back playing again. And according to my calculations, Mandy, Julio has played 456 maps of Rainbow Six in his professional career. And for reference, the next highest player on his team is Herds with 191. He's got more than double the experience of the next player on his team.
That's mad. That's exactly what W7M need, though, don't you think so? Especially coming off the back of the last 2 majors. What prevented them from going into that semi-final and beyond was experience.
Yeah.
Last time we were in Berlin, when they lost to FaZe, they were so heartbroken. We saw them in the lobby afterwards, just around the venue, and we got to chat to them, and they said the mental was just so hard to push through. When those clutches came through from FaZe, when they were losing the 1-on-3s, they couldn't stay composed, and in that moment, they didn't have that veteran, older figure to say, come on guys, pull it together, this is what we need to be international. And now that they have Julia on the roster, that is so much experience and value that he brings in.
Yeah, I'm super keen to see what W7M can do because, to be honest, I think most people here at the Jönköping Major are looking at W7M to potentially find their first major win here in Sweden. They are the favorites for the event in many people's eyes, and it starts here with their match against the underest of underdogs, Fury.
Community vote, of course, going 76% the way of W7M. Seems to agree with us here on the day.
To be honest, that's kind of generous to Fury.
You think so? Oh dear. Well, W7M, let's get right into it. Immediately off the back there, first ban comes out will be Ying from the side of W7M. Second one to go to Fury. Ying's an interesting one to me. I don't mind that, especially against Fury. We find that players like Fury, you've got like things like Hajime, or even like sometimes BG Man. A lot of the flex players on Fury, especially on Oregon, like to take that Ying because dropping through that electrical box for your basement execute is enabled so much more when you have those Candelas and flashbangs to go with it.
This is Lion Band's quite unusual to me. W7M doesn't often get Lion Band against them, nor does Fury often ban Lion. It's only their 3rd most banned operator. And as we have a look, yeah, just touching on that Ying ban, is W7M's most banned operator, so I think that's a good pick from them.
Pretty interesting here so far. Mira as well has been banned out, as well as the Izami. Okay, so on the side of the defense, you've pretty much got all your anti-hard breach. That's fine. You've got your mutes, you've got your bandits, and Kaid has been left in. So if they want to play like a more closed-off defense on the basement, for example, they bring the Kaid. They tried it. There we go. Laundry supply. We've already got the Kaid coming out from JV. Try and play like a more closed-off E-box hatch. There's no Ying as well, so even by the time they do get that open, it's going to be much more frustrating to execute onto the back. I don't mind this ban phase. I feel like W7M comes out on top starting out on the defense.
Let's see how it pans out. This is actually if you told me what are the 5 operators to bring on defense of Oregon basement, I would say these 5. This is very classic. You've got your projectile denial in Jaeger Wamai. You've got the shield on Smoke, you've got your hatch protection on the Kaid, and you've got Malusi, because who doesn't love having a bit of a Malusi to slow down your opponents? And, well, you can also get a bit cheeky with those impact grenades, and also pretty good gun. Good operator to go frag with.
So W7M are playing a pretty closed-off, more anchor-centric kind of defense going down into the basement. They've brought along the Kaid, like you pointed out. They've also brought along the shield on the side of Volp, so it shouldn't really go anywhere, with the duel of Wemai and Diego as well to hold on to these anchor positions for as long as they can. Now, on the side of Fury, if they wanted to, they could bring the EMPs, but they're actually going to bring along the Maverick to try and deal with that hatch and get that open instead of being finicky with trying to trick it with the EMPs or something like that. Already, like Colossus with a drone inside of T3 may look to make this early entry happen. Oop, that's a hard breach charge. That's not your Gara hook, and that is your Gara hook going into T2.
Is that the shotgun? Did my eyes deceive me? Is this a supernova shoddy? Wow, that's quite something. I respect that from Lycolis. Bringing a bit of Thai spice here into Sweden.
So already Fury looking to start to do this back take. The next step is to get control of meeting, to start making their way in through blue bunker. But of course that is being contested by Julio inside of Shaiko spot, and of course by Volps playing that smoke later. So it's just up to Fury to start to get their work on that hatches early, start to burn that utility. They've got plenty of it in the flashbangs of BJ Man and inside of the nades of Dark as well. So it's just about making sure this time management works for them.
Okay, well there you go, KZ, a nice quick peek there. It's the opening pick onto I9. That's a big player to take down. Fury's just getting to work, prodding, surrounding the bomb site, and of course opening up this hatch. The lack of, the Kaid rather, is forcing the Maverick pick. The looks like the Kaid's actually been taken off, but it's not really a point at this this juncture. The Maverick's still got to do the difficult task of opening it up, and there you go, BG Man has succeeded in doing so.
Nice teamwork as well on the side of W7M. We saw I9, he was the one trying to hold the ground on that back stairs, and as soon as KZ saw one of his teammates in trouble, he came along and did the double swing with him and is able to take them down. Now Fury in the man disadvantage, but they do have that meeting hatch open, is going to have to try and punish the claustrophobic hold of W7M. We can see them spreading out towards the lobby side, looking to surround them like vultures and see what picks they can find leading into the execute.
Wow, time is ticking away, and in the 4v5, I can't see this being very easy for Fury. You look at it, and there's no nades left, there's 2 flashes to work with, and it feels like inevitable that Fury will slowly march on forward. They're going to have to nail some nutty shots in order to get into this game, as Dark has managed to do so on the JV, and he goes deep. That's Hajime. Dark's doubled down. Hang on a second. Fury are in this after all. Herds has now got to try and deny that diffuser. Oh no, can't quite land the shots that's needed, but he denies the diffuser. What is going on? Fury have got to hunt down these last 2 W7M players, but I cannot believe it. Lycolis with the shotty has started to march forward. Dark's gonna have to force down that diffuser. It's on KZ, and he's gonna clutch out the round with ease. What a comeback.
That was a bit scary for W7M there, Dev. We really thought they had a hold on that bomb site, but in the last moment, Fury decided that backtake was too hard for them. They droned out blue bunk, and they said, okay, that's a lot of my discs, that's a lot of Jaeger ADSs, let's not deal with that, and they decided to hit the front instead. They went for that laundry side take, they had Hajime come down Freezer, and that last second pivot meant that W7M wasn't fully ready for those crossfires. They gave them Freezer control for free, for example. They're able to come down quickly, make those entries work, and almost win out that round, but thankfully W7M players are there to take it back. Herds, KZ in tandem to win out the round for them.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought W7M was winning that round through and through. I'm genuinely surprised that Fury managed to find the picks that they did. Very impressive to do so, but yeah, like you said, W7M very well recomposed. It was Herds who denied that diffuser, I believe, and he was that saving grace. As we move back upstairs now for the first time.
10 seconds left.
They're employing the Oryx here, so I don't mind this Oryx pick from KZ and the setup that he's done, because he's got the meeting hatch open, he's made a rotate inside a kitchen, not only that, but he can also maneuver his way up the attic hatch if that's been left open too, so this backsided take for Fury is going to be a little tricky with KZ running rampant down on this ground floor.
Bit of a spawn peek, bit of toyed aggression for Volps. BG Man on the Amara this time, taking that off of Lycolis. Looks like he's going to be pushing Attic at least a little bit. I wonder if he's running the shotty as well.
Nice early entry though. Getting Attic control early is always going to be beneficial, pretty much, especially if you're going to look for this master side take. Honestly, I think no matter what push you're doing, if you can get Attic, that's quick. I9, of course, has made his way all the way into Trophy completely uncontested, which is pretty uncharacteristic of this bomb site.
You got like no utility stopping him. Oh, he's on camera, that's the problem. Oh, but he still gets the kill onto Herds. Oh, does not manage to find that second one as Julio does trade him back. I really feel like Fury probably should have taken out that default camera, hey?
Yep, imagine that, but W7M are really on the ball with their trades. They're playing pretty close together here in this setup. They're ready to look for the swings, especially on that trophy door since they had forfeited the controls so early. Now here we're going to see this interaction with KZ now holding on to that ground floor controls, able to take down Dark, but there's actually BG Man inside of Attic that could be cutting off his meeting split.
Yeah, not sure he's going to be able to do that. KZ's watching, and there you go. BG Man is swift with the SMG-11. He's got to be running the shotty. That's the only reason I can imagine he's taking this SMG to the long-range engagements. I've got to say, Mandy, Fury are playing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're taking advantage of the real estate they've been given. We saw the early trophy control, for example, and now we're seeing the early addict control, and both of those things are starting to work into fruition. The exothermic charge has just been tricked off that wall, but really there are not that many more impacts in the hands of W7M. Julio has also gone down to the vertical, and it's starting to look more and more like a Fury round.
Yeah, it certainly is, but Lycolis has been taken out as well. So it is a 2v2. Oh no, the Frost Mat! What is that placement? Volps could win this round now. Aggressively overtaking, and the impact gets the kill. BG Man's got to save it. It's a 1v2, and Volps, he does win the round for W7M.
Too good from the IGL of W7M. Really nice timing to retake into that trophy control. As soon as he heard that Frost Mat go off, he used that timing to go, all right, now is my chance. There's one down. They're in a bit of a kerfuffle right now. Time to head in. And he absolutely did that in perfect timing. That impact, of course, got to catch them all right. Is able to take down another one. And W7M with a pretty, in my opinion, decisive end round.
Yeah, it's a good start for W7M, and yet not a rollover like the game we casted just earlier with Direwolves and FaZe. I'd say that was a far more one-sided affair.
Yeah.
This definitely feels like both of those rounds could have been Fury rounds. In fact, I reckon both of those rounds, W7M started looking good, and then Fury took an advantage, and then W7M came back. That's been the pattern 2 rounds in a row.
Well, the thing that interests me about this game, Dev, is that this W7M that we're seeing in this game feels a little more tame. I think it's odd. Maybe it's just the way that the bans have worked out for them, but it feels like they're playing a much more safe kind of operator lineup. They're always bringing Whammy Jaeger. They're always bringing a shield of some kind, except in this round, apparently they've got it completely wrong. And they're letting Fury have that early round real estate to either enter into small tower, big tower, inside of trophy control for free. They're giving them that sense of security, and all they're doing on these defenses is finding that perfect timing to retake and to get back on those gunfights to the mid to the late round. And I think it's a really interesting read into the way that Fury plays, since they're so quick in the early round.
Yeah, certainly are. Look at this early aggression from KZ. I kind of roasted him a little bit of his rating going down in Stage 3 compared to Stage 2. I think he took that personally because he's gone 5-1. Volps, though, aggressively peeking that game's window is not advisable. Is KZ going to really re-peak that?
I think so. It's W7M after all. They can do what they want, Dev. This guy's got a whatever rating that you said he had. He's doing well for himself. BG Man has actually chosen to bring along the Ossa for this backsided take. Hajime is playing a cutoff in the basement as well. Interesting. Trying to anticipate some roam from W7M down there. But really, what are Fury going to do about this? This is kitchen and this is meeting. Are they going to do a big tower-sided take, or are they going to do a small tower-sided take? And that seems like what they're looking for with this Ossa is around the big tower, trying to look for that addict control early. KZ has just gone down as well to a nade, and suddenly Fury, look, they've got a pretty good grip on this round.
I was going to say, I mean, by all rights, this should be a Fury round, but they have to be careful because this is where defense starts to get aggressive when this advantage comes through, and we've already seen that with Julio taking down the Nomad of I9. Big pick. As the main breach is going to be open in just a moment. I don't know whether, oh, there's no mute on the board, so perhaps they've just elected not to breach it as of yet.
Well, they don't want to do that just yet, right? As soon as that wall gets open, you need to have a gun trained on the wall. The next thing you need to worry about is that addict control and is that basement control. And we saw Hajime just a little bit earlier get on a drone and set up that flank punch going down to the basement. We saw another player poise himself up the top in tier 2 and is starting to look his way into addict. So they're just slowly setting up for that execute, taking the steps they need. But it's going to be made much harder if Hertz is able to take down one like that. BG Man to trade, though.
This does become a trade game, though. It's Fury who are going to win it. 3v2. As BG Man starts to go forward, and JV's been taken out. It's all on Julio. By far the most experienced man in the server, but is he going to be able to clutch? It's not happening. And there's Fury. 2 close swings, and on the 3rd try, they score a round.
That was a great round from Fury. A very minimalist take into Big Tower. First of all, they set up Hajime down in the basement. I commented on it earlier. I found it a little bit odd, but it makes a lot of sense now looking back on it, right? He'd opened up that little tiny melee hole going to Freezer, anticipating that W7M players might be rotating down in the basement and trying to look to flank them in through that Big Tower. Not only that, but like you commented on, they took their time to open up that exothermic charge, because as soon as you open up the wall, you have to have a gun trained on it, right? That you don't have any more time after that to set up your flank watch on the basement, anymore on the attic, that type of thing, right? And so Fury taking it slow, step by step into W7M, and eventually breaking down the site and getting in.
I'm curious. Oh, look at this. They've already VODed this Amaru. Like, they've already read into it. And so they're going to put some Capcan traps down and see if they can take down that Amaru. I really like that. It's very clever from Julio. That seems like... I don't know if I'm just gassing them up for no reason, but that really just feels like a Julio moment.
I think you'd be right about that. So W7M looking to go down into this basement once again. They've changed their lineup slightly. They've brought along the Capcan like you pointed out instead. They're still holding on to this bunker side with the aid of the shield on the side of Volps, but they've taken away the Jaeger as well. It's only Wamai that's protecting that shield, and instead they're going to bring along the Goyo, trying to slow down the attack of Fury, because they certainly do take their time through the mid to late round. W7M identifying, okay, maybe we just need to delay them for a little bit longer, and that's what they're going for.
Well, Hertz does go for an aggressive peek and take down Hajime early. That's a pretty significant one. It's a lot of explosives to take out. Can I just say, every time I see a Blackbeard peak, a Blackbeard pick in 2022, I think it's just trolling. So what is I9 doing?
Not just that, but we've actually got the Sens as well on Lycolis. Now, their gadget is pretty exciting. I'm not sure how it's going to be used in this basement push that they're trying to do, especially if they're going for a back take. It's a curious one to me, so we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, and you said it. That double Capcan trap is lethal. 1 HP on Lycolis, and Julio's going to double down and take down I9.
Yeah, well, this is some really good mid-game adaptations from W7M, isn't it? They're starting to read into Fury, and instead of going for a full bunker strategy, everyone on site, they are having a couple of roamers and a bit of aggression, a bit of pressure, starting to get Fury's number.
Fury now and the man disadvantage starting to make their way down the backside of the map, but Herds is still holding on to this attic control. A rotate will aid him in putting pressure into the big tower. Not before being traded up by Glycolis, though, who's on a slither of HP there on the Sens. Fury now, severe man disadvantage, low HP. It seems like a W7M round.
This basement is hard enough to attack in a 5v5, let alone a 2v4. Especially with KZ still roaming, so Fury got to be careful not to turn their backs on that Goyo. Roaming upstairs. Oh, there you go. Checks the angle for a second, and then Lycolis is taken out. It's poor PG, man, and he's swiftly dealt with. That's W7M finding their 3rd round of the game.
Nice from W7M. Once again, it was I9 that was the one to fall on that backstairs. He was positioned there to try and prevent the aggression coming up from W7M, but Julio was ready to take that engagement. You can tell they scrimmed that a lot. You know, you need to find the timing on that backstairs fight, because most of the time, that backstairs is going to be an isolated fight for the most part. It's just about making sure that you don't feed him, that you don't want to give away your life to him. And so W7M constantly have been doubling down on that backstairs fight to isolate it before they come flooding into pillar. And I think it's a really good way to play the basement.
My question is, will W7M continue to adapt like that? Because Fury have been very close on their first rotation of attacking these sites. And if W7 don't improve and start to adapt, wouldn't be surprised if Fury could hack through an attack here on Dorms.
Well, this is a very different setup from W7M. Like you said, they need to change things up just a little bit, especially on this bomb site where they gave Fury so much free control inside of Trophy. Look how different this setup is. We have a shield, aggressive, nice, in pit, facing Trophy. So that early entry coming through Armory can't be done. We even have a rotate on the closet wall as well, anticipating that Fury are going to repeat the same structure kind of attack into Big Tower and into Master Bedroom, right? Volps has even got a double Frostmat on that double window in case they just decide to change it up and jump back in. So I think W7M are doing the adaptations that you might have suggested.
And Julia's even playing below with the shoddy inside of security, full reinforcements as well to support his position on the mute down below. You can deny plant with C4 in the late round, or you can even watch a lot of jump-ins and repel-ins with the vertical holes as well. So this is going to be a tough cookie for Fury now. This kind of attack is very difficult to cut through.
And I think that they've done a really great read onto Fury as well. I9 immediately is looking for that control into Master, but this time he's not met by a set of reinforced walls. He's met by two very open, gaping holes denying his entry. Not just that, but even at the top of Armory says there's a player lying in wait. JV as well, early control of Big Tower, anticipating that the Amaru pick might come through, has his gun trained on it, but it's actually Dark to open up the round for Fury.
It's a good kill. I'm surprised that he won that fight onto Herds. Big play to take down in the smoke. Oh, there you go. KZ, aggressive inside of the closet, but he does lose his life. Perhaps a little bit over-aggressive. And that's going to force JV as well to fall back, reinforce up his position. He's going to try and kill that Amaru, but oh no! JV was not decisive enough and pays for it with blood.
Hajime as well is going to link arms with BG Man inside of Attic now that they've been given that control. 2-2 split is the push that Fury are going to go for here. Already, this Master Breach has been open for I9, and he could make an explosive execute at any time if he wanted to.
So be careful. Oh, he spots the player. JV crosses and barely survives.
JV, though, being very dangerous on this angle. Volps to be taken down by I9 by exactly that angle, that gaping hole inside of Master, and now the flood is going to come through.
They're going to have to do this fast because Julio is on for a flank. Got that C4, doesn't land anything with it as of yet. JV hears that the plant's going down from Lycolis. Two players to cover. One on repel, but taken down now, JV. Can he find another one? Lycolis rounds the corner and bests him as BG Man finishes off Julio. And Fury here, Mandy, have found their second round.
Fury are doing really, really well for the real estate that they've been given inside of this server. I criticized at first that I thought they would actually be playing into the defense that W7M had, but as soon as I9 was able to make his way in tandem with Dark inside of Armory, they actually used those angles against W7M really, really well. W7M unfortunately just found some pretty unfortunate timing on some of his floors. KZ, for example, he got stuck in that closet rotate trying to take the gunfight, and then JV being indecisive on that attic rotate, not knowing when to dial it back in that kind of open defense, and being punished by Fury for it was really well played from them.
I feel like there was a moment of doubt for Volps. When he started reinforcing that attic wall off, he heard the Amaru hook and he thought, oh, I can quickly take this fight.
Exactly.
And then he changed his mind. He thought, no, that's risky. I want to play passive instead of risky. And if he had either committed to playing passive or committed to playing risky, it would have been better. But because he half-assed both things, he didn't manage to achieve either successfully.
Yeah, and like I said, we saw that happen twice as well. Same thing with KZ on the closet rotate. He didn't need to repeat if he didn't want to. And that's the danger in playing those kind of more open-ended setups, because you need to pick a time in the round that you're going to close everything back off again, right? And that's always quite challenging to do, especially against a team like Fury, who are really on the ball in these early rounds.
Yeah, you got to have conviction when you're playing this brand of Siege. And I'm just going to say it. I know we're only 5 rounds in. I know Fury's only found 2 rounds, but Fury have already exceeded my expectations and impressed me. Not in the number of rounds they've won, but how well they're playing. And the fact that they do not give a crap who they're playing against. Like, they are playing against one of the best teams in the world right now, and they show no fear. And you've got to respect them for that.
You got to do it if you're here at this major. You are playing against the best teams in the world. Fear is not an option. Julio's already got 2 Black Eyes actually set up in small tower, anticipating that Fury plays might be looking for it, and that's exactly what they're doing. We've got I9 and Dark immediately making their entry in, aided by the Ossa, to see what kind of execute they can go for.
I do like the Ossa pick. We do have impacts on KZ. He ends up being in a position to try and counter that Ossa later in the round. But for now, starting to put some pressure on Dining and Showers. Unusual to see Dining and Kitchen as a bomb site choice these days, meeting much more common, but it didn't work out for W7M last time.
So how's Lycolis going to get this exothermic charge on the wall? Okay, so he's just managed to get that on there, on the right hand. Oh, right in the smack bang in the middle. Okay, cool. See, just detonate it, see what they can go for. The first thing they're going to look for is this Ossa shield placement from BG Man. It's time to start baiting out those impacts and that utility so they can look for the plants. Already wants down an impact and a gun to follow up, and that's KZ to find the first one in the round.
That's why KZ is just such a nuts player. He always knows how to handle the situation. He's got the brain to back up the brawn, but he has been taken low, and he's in a pinch here. In showers, I think he spotted the player on the bus. He's about to be fully exposed. He's got to decide, what does he commit to? Plays aggressive, he gets Herds to play right on the corner. Take down one player, but like Colas, unfortunately, with that team kill, is going to make this hard. KZ now commits, and that puts Hajime in a spot of bother. KZ with a pre-fire to finish it off. What a round and what a play to close the half.
In such W7M fashion as well, as soon as one of their players was in trouble, that was KZ, he was stuck there in the bathroom, we saw all the W7M players come and link arms with him. One of them running his way, Hurts the madman, running his way straight through the shower hallways like, I got you, bro, don't worry, you swing with me. And they did it together, and as a result, they're able to take down the Fury players that were claustrophobic inside of Small Tower. They also did it in tandem with a player coming through dining as well, so it was a 3-man swing directly onto the breach. Fury weren't ready to hold all 3 of those angles and get punished for it.
And isn't it just amazing that KZ and the rest of W7M can not only just think of that strategy, but communicate it on the fly? Like if you have that shower walls open, you can't really play inside of showers. And he knew he couldn't retreat safely, so he decided, okay, let's just time a push together. And the fact that they can just do that at the drop of a hat, I don't know how you can talk fast enough to coordinate that.
I know, right?
In the run of the moment.
Right? It's almost like they have like a neural network between themselves, you know? They just psychic. They know exactly what they want to do because they've played together for so long. Anyway, we go into their attacking half, and there's a blitz pick.
Hey, I love this. It's not Julio, which would have made 2018 me very happy, but that's okay. I'll allow it from Volps. I'm really keen to see what the play is here. Usually when you see blitz, you're thinking it's going to be blue bunker, but it's actually not where Volps is right now. Maybe late round. Oh, it's a roam clearing blitz.
Oh no.
No drones ahead.
This is exciting from Volps. He's actually going to take the blitz down around the freezer side of the map instead. They've been given essentially the entire map for free, right? Fury, they're fully bunkered down. They've lent into that Kaid. And W7M are making full use of their real estate. There's about, 2 minutes left on the round. And already they're down in freezer, but Dark is there to meet them.
It's a big player to take down. KZ's already broken double digits this game. Huge pick. It's going to make it kind of awkward now. You got one less gun on the roster with Volps being that blitz. I mean, blitz can be dangerous, but it's not quite the same as having a rifle. And also, on top of that, you know, we got the EMPs on Sledge. Here we go.
Well, there it is.
Is it going to work? Are they going to trick it? No. Did I not get it? Oh, he did!
There you go.
Oh, you know what, Mandy? You know what sucks now? JV doesn't have the double impact, so he can't counter the trick anymore.
Oh, you're so right, yeah. He's only got one more baby EMP in the pocket, so if I9 is able to juggle that second one, that hatch could stay closed. Nevertheless, W7M still have options here. If they don't want to go for this back take, they don't necessarily need this hatch open. Okay, there we go. Oh, no way. I9 is about to get the second one.
I think he's got it. Oh, I9. It's not just good looks. He's got the brain to back it up.
Wow, that's incredible. But look at this. They're still looking for this back take, even though the hatch is staying closed. The Flores is starting to make its way into blue bunker, led by the train of Fox. Here it comes. But oh no, it's being closed off. What a great read from Fury.
Fury are just playing out of their minds right now. Like, what the hell? These guys are playing so smart. They know exactly what to do. Now Volps is going to take matters into his own hands. Spots out the PPC. Over goes the C4, and Volps is down. Oh, the blitz. Put out of the equation like Colas finds one. Dark gets aggro. Herds to try and salvage this round. It's just up to him and JV, but they might be able to get it done.
Herds now making his way around that default plant will swap positions with JV. They have to get aggressive, find at least one pick in the 2-on-3, otherwise that retake is going to be way too hard for just one person to cover.
There's nothing that they can do to clear out that bulletproof camera at this point. They're just going to have to go straight into the meat grinder. JV stands no chance against BG Man. And Fury are getting one step closer to tying the scoreline this map, Mandy.
That is so cool. This is such an awesome game for us as APAC South to be watching of Fury. These guys have come from so far. They had no points in stage 1, and now look at the way they played that around. They went, I9 has just tricked the hatch twice. let's just close elbow. They're going for the back take. Don't even open it for the blitz train. We saw Volps round the corner and go, oh no guys, they're closed. We don't have enough X-Karos to open it anymore. And they had to funnel their way through that default plan, through that E-box and pillar position. And Fury was so disciplined. They sat there, they played the crossfires. They knew that they had the bunker that W7M could not crack into. And that was so perfectly played from them.
This is such a good game, not just as a Fury fan or as a, I mean, obviously W7M is still winning, but not just a Fury fan, as a Rainbow Six fan. Like, this is a really good game of Siege. And often when David is taking the fight to Goliath and really impressing, it's because Goliath is making mistakes or succumbing to the pressure. But you know what? W7M's playing just as good as ever. They are playing really good Siege. And yet, Fury is starting to meet them in some of these rounds.
Okay, so W7M, what have you got? They're actually going to bring along the Sens on the side of JV. Now, JV, I really like JV as a player. I just want to highlight him for a second because I feel like when we talk about W7M, everyone talks about KZ, everyone talks about Volps. There we go, I9's just taking down the one hard breach. I'm going to hop on a little bit about him.
That's fine, you can do that.
Okay, KZ's got a trade back, okay? The man count is even. It's all fine, everything's fine, Copium. Anyway, JV is a really wonderful player. I feel like when people talk about W7M, a lot of them talk about your Volps, your KZs, the ones that drop all the kills and yada-yada. But having that kind of flex player in JV who's just kind of able to pick up anything and make an idea off of it is so valuable in this current meta of Siege. And I really wonder how they're going to incorporate this Sens into this top floor execute.
Well, with I9 getting traded, that's one less Sens counter available with that Warden going down. But man, I just cannot believe Lycola swings that.
And he wins it.
And he wins it. Volps has gone down, that's nades. And Diana's Gemini taken out. Like you said, the hard breach was spawn picked by I9. And then with I9 being traded, honestly, I would take that exchange any day if I'm a defender. Get rid of the only hard breach and lose your Warden. Yeah, absolutely.
So what options do W7M have left here? They've got the Sens. That's on the side of JV, and he's looking to take the diffuser in through this big window. The problem with doing this is that they've got Dark there on that ground floor with the Jaeger that is playing that vertical angle, and so instead they've sent Hertz. He's on the Nook, looking to disrupt that anchor position.
In fact, he might actually be going up white. Now he's very cautious of the position from Dark. Who's going to win the fight? It is Hertz, and that could bring some life into this attack for W7M. There's plenty of time to work with, and the numbers are even.
Hertz as well has just doubled down and found a second onto Lycolas. JV seems very aware that there's a player inside of Kids that could be contesting his big window. Now the push has got to come through from those White Stairs, from that double window if they want to make it work. KZ's going to put the pressure onto Attic as well. Fury, Hajame's got to win this fight on White Stairs if they want to stay in this round.
Yeah, Hertz. Oh, he's done so much this round, bringing it back into the realm of possibility, but he's been taken out. Does Hajime know that he's got the down? He doesn't, and he's got to clutch this now. He's going to have to play off the sound as the Sens has already passed in through into Kids. They don't seem to know where Hajime is. He snuck his way to big window. He would hear the revive right now, but he needs to focus on JV inside of Kids. And Hajime takes down one. Can he get the second one? A good flick from JV. And a big round from W7M to get their heads back in the game.
Really nice comeback from W7M. That's exactly the power of having JV on your team, right? If you don't have a player on your team that can go for that off pick, like bringing along that Sens, where are you going to get the opportunity to do an execute like that, right? That is exactly why he's such a valuable player. Not just that, but Hertz as well, the captain of the team, being on board with the plan and saying, okay, I see the plan you're going for, jump in big window, I need to kill that guy inside security for you. And just getting straight on the ball, he did that all on his own, enabled himself with that Nook to go and make that play. It's just so masterful from W7M to bring themselves back into that round.
Yeah, if you're Fury in that position, I think it was a 4v3 at one point with no hard breach. Fury could realistically just play passive and win the round almost by default. But because W7M, as you said, like found that point of weakness, they got themselves back in the game, and it goes to show this team doesn't get rattled. I mean, well, I guess you could point out that they perhaps felt the pressure catch up to them a little bit in the Berlin semi-final against FaZe. But again, Julio's here now. This is a different team. This is a new and refreshed team. One that is, at least they believe, ready to play in a grand final at a major and even to win it.
now Fury, they're going to take us over to this kitchen and meeting. So tertiary bomb site, they don't want to repeat what they did before, force W7M to do something new. Now we can see W7M, they're also choosing to bring along the Ossa. Seems to come into fashion these days when you attack meeting. It really enables that plant to be open once you have that stage wall exothermic charge down, and that's exactly what they're looking for here. 3 plays shaped up around the big tower, meanwhile putting on the pressure from lobby with those Selma charges, opening up the wall in the back, trying to flush out at least one anchor position before they go for the execute.
It's interesting from BG Man using impacts to try and trick these south meeting walls, but at the end of it he's not able to do so, and so there are vaultable holes on both sides.
Good steps from W7M. That was some really quick pressure coming in from Garage, and still 2 minutes to work this big tower side of the map. Hertz has just made his way into T3 and can start to open up the wall into Attic, put the pressure down there, and eventually get the stage open as well.
Attic's open. Stage getting open right now. Has he detonated it yet? There you go. Let's see what this Ossa can do for Julio. The moment he's just on flank watch duty. Oh no, sorry, that he is watching the breach, my bad. Got disoriented there for a second. Ooh, big pick there. Julio does take down I9. That's the Echo, Mandy.
Yeah. The early setup for W7M is really starting to pay off now. Because they opened up those 2 lobby angles so quickly, it is very dangerous to sit in meeting. Really, the only place that is safe is where BG Man is. That's behind the little sandbags. KZ is going to double down on another pick onto Dark, starting to take that top floor control, catching off any Fury plays that might be trying to retake Attic.
Yeah, this is a real tough position now for Fury, isn't it? 2v5 now with Herds finding Lycolis. They got to get aggressive. Hajime guts it. Sees out the Ossa. Doesn't have any impacts to work with. And KZ's taking him down. It's all up to BG, man. Does find one. 1v3 now. Plant not down yet, but this is a tough position to be in. With the Ossa shield there, it's going to be nigh impossible. And spraying through the smoke, JV can close the round and push W7M into match point.
That was really masterfully played from W7M in that round. Every single step of the way, they were being really careful about. They just did what they needed to do. They wanted to lobby. They opened up those 2 angles into meeting. And by doing that, it makes the sides of meeting very dangerous to play. And those are your main 2 power positions, along with the meeting split, for when a stage attack comes through like that, right? Because otherwise you're being exposed to the hatch if you sit literally anywhere else in meeting, right? And so having that early setup, getting those walls open and just taking it nice and slow. We had KZ who had a really nice lurk on that top floor on the other side because he knew the win condition was making sure that Attic stays in control of W7M when they go for that execute, right? Just every single step along the way, W7M were 1 more ahead of Fury.
Now with match point staring them down, Fury will take their tactical time out. Just have a quick chat. Do they have their coach behind them? I can't quite see. Is it just the 5 players?
Seems like it.
Wow. Oh, well, there you go. So, I mean, according to what I've got, their coach's name is Dome Dominic, and they also have a manager. But it seems like those guys haven't actually rocked up to the event. They weren't able to come or something like that. I'll have to investigate that. I'll ask them after the game. But man, that's even more pressure, isn't it? Talk about being an underdog, not having anyone there behind you to help you out when you're in a pickle and need a second opinion.
Fury, once again, not looking to repeat the bomb site. They're changing to this basement instead. Playing the blue bunker hold with that shield on the side of Lycolis, and let's see if they open or close this mini hatch. That's sort of, in my opinion, what defines these kind of holds. I imagine that they're going to close it with the more bunker-like setup that they're going for, tandem with the Jaeger and the shields, that type of thing. But let's see what Fury are able to bring, because at this point they're going to try 3 different approaches to defend this entire map, and so far none of them have been successful.
Well, I will say for Fury, they successfully defended on Laundry Supply, which is where they're going right now. So, in theory, they should be able to win this round. That said, it's not a given. W7M have brought that blitz again, however, and attempting this blue push with an early Flores drone.
Yeah, and here comes Volps once again.
He's going
the Volps train on his way down to bunker. What's the rest of W7M going to do about it though? Last time they were in a bit of a tussle with the hatch. This time Fury haven't chosen to bring along the Kaid. In fact, the meeting hatch is soft, I believe. I could be wrong.
Really?
Pietro,
what?
Can we borrow you? The meeting hatch is soft. for Fury.
I'm
so they're
confused.
looking to do maybe a bit more of a roam here. They've actually got 3 reinforcements in their pocket. It makes me curious. Anyway, KZ's made his way down inside of Laundry, being traded out by I9. Trades starting to go back and forth with W7M. Actually, they've been given a lot of map control, except there's a cheeky play in the top floor. There is so much going on in this round right now.
Yeah, and it's all very separated as well. Julio's still on flank watch as Herds has done some damage. Volps is in sight, and I9 does find one before being traded back, but that means it's only on BG Man, and well, the game was over as soon as it started, it seems. W7M show how good they are. Fantastic performance from one of the tournament favorites. Fury gave them a little bit of a run for their money at the start, but W7M reminded us just who they are.
Yeah, what an odd final round to close it on as well. It felt like there was a lot going on in that round. Fury, they looked really disconnected on that roam, and W7M were able to pick that one apart. They snuck their way in where they could. That's what that last round felt like. You had Volp sneak his way in through blue, another one sneak their way in through Laundry, and there were just not that many Fury players there to meet them, really able to take them down right on the site. W7M fashion, able to win that game 7-3.
Well, a reassuring start to the tournament for the Brazilians. We'll be back to break it down in just a moment. What we expected to be a pretty cut and dried affair ended up a pretty cut and dried affair. A valiant effort from Fury, but W7M have shown up here and they are taking no prisoners at the major.
Absolutely. I want to hand it to Fury. Honestly, I think if there was any map for them to give it a crack on, Oregon was the one, and they showed us why. They have a really great Oregon, but W7M are able to bring it back, especially as soon as they got onto that attack half. The adaptation that team was able to show was far beyond what Fury were able to deal with.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good stuff from W7M this year, and it just feels like they're getting better and better. I also got to say, it's so nice to see Julio back at it, and it's nice to see that he has a place on the team. He spent a bit of time out of the server as a coach for Furia, so yes, he'd played the whole of Stage 3, but coming into the major, I was thinking, is he going to be one of those players that's kind of just like the hard sup who's going to donut the whole game? And he proved me wrong. He played well. But, I mean, well, let's go look at some of the highlights. I got to say, this was, as many people would expect, this was Herds' game. Oh, sorry, KZ.
I was going to say, KZ, this man is an absolute demon. I put him down, so when we did predictions for this, I put him down as my little MVP because he is such a beast when it comes to playing anything on the defense that he's handed to. He gets the Alibi license, he gets Auric license, he can play Malusi, and that's the perfect player to play it on, right? He's amazing in the frag department and can really claw back rounds for W7M. We saw especially in that 2-on-5 in the basement where him and Herds were able to claw it back. That was a 4K for KZ. He just shows up like that.
Yeah, huge player. There was another one of them that ended up on 11 kills as well. I believe it was Herds. And he had some hugely impactful rounds, like the one we're watching right now. Honestly, just W7M doing W7M things. They really know how to come back from a disadvantage. The round on Dorms where I9 managed to spawn peek the Thermite, and yet they still managed to come back from the 3v4. That is the kind of caliber of play that we expect from a team like W7M. They know exactly how to keep pace with their opponent. They know how to flip the switch. They know if their plan goes out the window, they'll come up with another one on the spot.
Exactly. That is the strength, and not just W7M, but I think in general, the LATAM region, their problem-solving skills and the way they're able to bounce and communicate ideas off each other is just so unmatched, and I think W7M just does it so well.
How about that dining play in the showers?
Yeah.
That was nuts.
That's exactly it. It's so nuts that you can coordinate a 3-man push in the span of, what was it, like 5 seconds? Yeah. KZ goes, my wall's getting opened. And Hertz is there like, don't worry, man, I'm running it down showers to come help you out. Like, immediately. There's the neural network that they have got going is something special.
It was 1 HP as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He does not care.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah, nuts stuff. And W7M, in terms of the trajectory of the tournament right now, they're in a very tough group. But I would still send them. I would still put my vote for them in going through the playoffs. I still think they're one of the favorites for the tournament as well. Let's have a look at how that group is looking as it stands right now. This was these teams' first game, but doesn't mean that the group hasn't been very busy. You can see that BDS have already found their 3 points. Oh, really? I guess that was on the other stream, but that's cool. So BDS took down Space Station in regulation by the looks of it. And Fury unfortunately lost this game to W7M. So there you go, the standings as they currently sit, having had all teams play just a single game.
I am so looking forward to that W7M BDS game. I think we're doing that one, right? Is that one tomorrow?
Probably.
That is the one that is coming up tomorrow, and it's going to separate that first and second place. So far, the same on points. The only thing separating them is round difference at the moment, where W7M are just a little bit more dominant over Fury compared to BDS. But so far, this group shaping up to be kind of how we expected. I just want to see how that mid to top half of that standings plays out tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we talked so much about W7M and Fury, but for me, Space Station still have quite a bit to prove. They haven't been a namesake on the international stage for quite some time, so I'm keen to see if they can take on Fury. Honestly, I think they are a safe bet against Fury, but I wouldn't be surprised with how well Fury played in the 3 rounds they won against W7M today if Space Station will be given a hard time. Also, I want to see BDS back at a major because, yeah, BDS are one of those teams that historically get super pumped up and hyped up and fail to perform at the majors. Ever since they were in conversation being one of the best teams in the world, they've struggled to actually attain that title or even get to a grand final at a major. However, they have won 2 pretty significant international events in the Gamers 8 and the Japan Invitational. If that counts for something, credit to them. I want to see how this group pans out at the end of it, though, because it's a pretty tight one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of the more tight groups. A and B are definitely by far the tightest. A is, I have no idea who's going to come out of this one. But C could definitely have some upsets. I don't think it's going to go the way that people think it is.
Well, I think it'd be a pretty safe bet that the team that wins the tournament could well be in this group.
It's possible. It's very possible.
It's very possible. We have more games coming up very shortly here on the B Stream, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back.